Now, of course, I'm trying to help you understand the religion at the time, too, right? Now, part of burning a sacrifice and part of some of the things the children of Israel did after the time of David was they would burn um, their children in a sacrificial rite to death, right? And part of the requirement is after you do the sacrifice and you get and distribute the meat of the animal, because basically this was your slaughterhouse, right? See, they just didn't kill the bull or the ox or whatever it was they killed, or the lamb, right? A he or a she lamb as well. And the reason for that is part of getting the meat of the animal. For instance, even the lamb, you were supposed to eat all the meat, right? Including the eyeballs, right? Which might sound weird to you now, but like I said, right? We're talking about how they did it thousands of years ago when it first became an idea in the mind of Moses to do this to honor their leaving Egypt, right? Does it matter if history don't quite match up 100%? No, no. Because by a certain time, an Egyptian pharaoh does acknowledge Israel. Yep. Though without that acknowledgement, right, you can't much say anything about it. And so did some of the Assyrians acknowledge King David. Right? So you have evidence that there was someone around that time called King David in the house of Israel, right? Or the house of David, right? So if you believe me or not, I can't tell you more than what I can learn and look into, just like you, right? But it don't make me delusional, all right, to understand something that the Gnostics are saying that you were denied the evidence of yourself, which ain't, something you want to see. It's something you may conceive, right? You might conceive it this way, right? It requires a leap of faith, though, too. Faith is not thinking just because it mentions a tree and eating of its fruit, right? Then that means it's just a tree, right? In the Bible, it can also be a human being. Now, I'm not saying, though, that the angels in their gaseous form can't look humanoid. And no. It's like the sun itself, but they're more different in the way they are physically manifested, right? Now, Ezekiel, Daniel, right? Isaiah, for instance, sees angels, right, in heaven. And Elijah seen Elisha, right? Seen Elijah taken up to heaven in the chariot, right? But that's the point. I don't know who it is. I gotta wait for the right person to come along who can handle my study into the Bible, right? Too, right? I can show them the same thing I can show you. The difference is they might accept it, right? And it's only another male and me with my female and then him with his female, right? At the least, right? That should accept it, right? The rest, right, is up to time, right? And then we also, if we go, have to wait for them to try and rebuild the temple in Israel, because John mentions the temple being rebuilt, and when he wrote the book of Revelations, it was done destroyed.
Of defeat and brokenness. Your response will allow many more imprisoned by guilt, addictions, sickness, and depression to discover the message.
See what's on today on the religious channels. Daniel Boone. BET Jams, I don't get that. BET Soul.
Broadcast from the housetops to all the four corners of the earth. Amen.
If you've been blessed by today's message, we invite you to partner with us to send the gospel of grace to the nations. Call us toll free at 877-769-5433 or visit us at josephprince.org/partner today. Joseph Prince Ministries is a Section 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your gift is tax deductible for the amount that exceeds any fair market value of the materials you receive from us.
These three powerful books, recently released by TBN's publishing company, Trilogy Christian Publishing, are available to you right.
Now, the thing is, I don't even know how to get on TBN, and they're kind of finicky. I know. All it really is about is, do you have the money to get them there, know the right connections to do so? Or you, like I said, like most ministers, can't really even do that, right? So if all I can do is one of the two witnesses is witness from my home, my whole home is my church. It is. Just like the disciples had to start out with their ministry from houses, homes, right? Right. But there again, you don't know that today, right? Today people can build churches and all that, right? But some people don't want to go to church anymore, right? That's up to you, though, right? See, you can study the Bible on your own, but really do so, or you're just lip servicing the Lord, right? Now, some people focus on what people teach them from the pulpit, but that's not the whole story, right? But yet, whether it is or not, you have to read the Bible sometimes on your own, right? You can't blame the minister if he don't know something, and Constantine is trying to cover it up to deceive it in the Bible, right? And what all that means, right? Exactly. And if you're covering something up, for example, right? And again, or you're hiding something, right? And it's a double entendre. It's a parable within the story Moses is trying to tell you about the Bible, right? About what he thinks happened in Eden to Adam and Eve and the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? And what these things were. Now, one of them said that Adam has become as one of us, which is also to the other angels in heaven, right? To know good and evil. In fact, that being says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And he made them male and female. No, female. But Moses implicates the woman was removed by bone and flesh. when Adam names her, he said, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh," right? So if she's removed from him, she was in him as a hermaphrodite, right? That's why the Gnostics say Adam was a hermaphrodite, right? That's what Constantine is sealing. He wants the male image to be the first image of God. It's not, right? It's a lie. It's a lie. You're the fallen son of Adam, right? And God is not Adam. Anoki Eloish, right? First. That's what it's trying to tell you through Hosea. But men have difficulty hearing they're not God. Right? And when they start playing God, which they can do as well, because Paul does call Jesus a man, right? But he also says the male and female are one in this man, right? He also says we're both baptized into the body of this man, right? Which implicates an androgyny there, right? And John has Jesus have mastoids in Revelations 1:13, which King James interprets as paps. But he also uses it for Luke's word, mastoi, with the woman who says, "Blessed are the paps which thou hast sucked, and the womb which bore thee," right? So if someone's hiding this knowledge, they're sealing it, right? I'm here to unseal it. As simple as that, right? I see what you have a problem with. Christ being both genders. And that's what the Gnostics are talking about when they talk about removing Jesus and putting a male on the cross in his stead, right? You make the real Jesus the mocking Jesus, the laughing Jesus. Oh, I didn't die for everybody's sin, just the man's sin, right? The female don't sin as well, by the way. No, all have sinned. All are under sin. Just as all are baptized into his body, right? Physically. Now, if people have been lying since Constantine, that's almost 1,700 years in 2025. Right. In the year 2025, if we're still alive. It's the whole point here, too, I know. But see, they only explain it so far. Even C.I. Scofield only went to the old, right? He didn't point out Jesus having paps in Revelations, right? Though he pointed out God had breasts in Genesis 17 by the word El Shaddai, right? Shad is associated with the female's breast. Dai simply means enough. So it's like saying breast enough. Female breast enough, right? That you would know is both. Like, again, women have cup sizes. You got an A, you got a B, you got a C, you got a D, and then you got Dolly. And bigger and bigger. Some go F. But anyway, you got saline. But again, that must be a process, huh? Because as far as I know, my boob, my man boob, if you want to call it that, ain't like a woman's boob. Never will be. But it's Christ John is describing, right? Yeah, I know. In the first chapter, we agree with that, right? He is the first and the last, which means what? As well, the male and the female, the male and the female. Androgynous male and female. Androgynous male and female. The three forms of God. He transfigured into two other forms in front of Peter and James, right? And John. And Mark is talking about him morphing in front of Cleophas and another disciple. who was unnamed, and thus is the author himself, right? No, Luke don't quite name him either, does he? Right? Luke just kind of says two of the brothers met him on the way, right? And to a certain town, right? And he spoke to them at least. Right? He's trying to reestablish himself to them, and they still can't quite see it. No. So one suggests he was in a different form, even. And one says they were somewhat withholding as well, right? Now, if you are Jesus and you're beaten within an inch of your life, and one of the prophecies still was hitting him on the face till even his beard came out. When you've heard of the bearded lady, right? There is the bearded woman at the fair. Uh-oh. And Jesus was sold for the price of a woman in the singular difficult vow, which both Moses agrees with, as does Zechariah. Now, Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers before he turned 20, right? He was valued at 20 shekels of silver, which he was sold to the Esauites or whatever they were, Edomites, right? Something like that. Anyway, so Joseph was sold for 20 pieces before he turned 20. And that was the price of a male in the singular vow as well. Under 20, between 5 and 20, right? Now, Christ was sold for 30 pieces, but that's the price of a female, right? Not a male. The only other thing that has to do with it might be when a male or female slave is gored by an ox, no matter which one it is, a male or a female, you pay 30 shekels to their master. That's the only time they're valued the same as when they're both slaves, though, right? But Jesus neither bond nor free, slave nor free, right? Himself, right? Because, like all ministers, you have tutors, right? And the Old Testament is how they taught Jesus until they started writing letters to the church, right? Now, we don't even know if we got all the information today, because Constantine would destroy anything that seemed Gnostic, too. Peter, for all we know, could have wrote it all out and did the Gospels differently to see if it would even survive till today. You don't know he didn't do that either. But anything they considered Gnostic, they might would burn with Emperor Constantine. Now, there is book burning in the Bible, but this is usually how it works. The person burns their own book, right? Not you burn it for them. Right? Either. Or you burning like a bunch of Roman soldiers who are suppressing information. Muslims do that too with other religions. Right? They want to stamp out or destroy other religious temples, and they don't know what they're doing either. It's wrong. There might be information in that religion that, like with Shiva, for example, helps us to understand the androgynous nature of God, right? Now, Lord and Lady Shiva, right, which there's two, women for him. Parvati, I think, right? And I forgot the other one right off the top of my head. I ain't thought about it in a while. And another one, I forgot her name. But anyway, Shakti, I think, right? Something like that. Well, anyway, one represents the conception of the male sperm with the female egg, right? And that's why it's half male, half female, right? But it's still androgyny, right? Because we're both our mother and father. Your mother is the earth, right? She's solid. She's two X's. So either way, you're guaranteed an X with your mother. Your father, though, is Y. And some women have the hermaphroditic gene, which could be from the fall of the angels and Satan, right? In Genesis 6 and Genesis 3. And some men deny it. Men. Lulu. It's not a witness's job to tell you anything but the truth you can't see, you know. And deny, right? And seal. And seal. The dream qualifies me. I keep telling you that. You think yes, every day a male stands before the throne of God in heaven. No. I don't need nothing but the dream to be one to do witnesses, right? Because any male who has somewhat of a religious experience and reads the Bible is going to try and figure out what it means, right? If it's different than that, too. So, like I said, the dream plays out more with chapter 12 than 11, but you get to 11 before you get to 12, which is why I thought I was one of the two witnesses. And I didn't really think it had to do with Jesus because it was a brief dream, like 3 seconds, maybe, you know, maybe 4 if you stretch it. But again, I did think it might have to do with the two witnesses. And it's not a choice for me, you know. It might be for you, but not for me, not for you. And like I said, God's also teaching me I don't know everything, so I got to learn to forgive too, right? And rely on His mercy, not Satan's condemnation of us. Because by that, no man is saved, right? And trust me, even if we're dying, we're being took before we can sin too much, right? That's why we die too, right? But the death is just the body returning to the earth from which it was taken, or the dust from which it was taken. And again, right, the spirit returning to God who gave it, right? That's all it really is in a nutshell. You know? Whether we go to heaven or hell or paradise or torment, right, whatever you want to call it, right, with Satan who died too, right? Now, what he's trying to do is collect your soul, which is what your blood pumps through your body. It's the life force in your body that the blood pumps to your mind to control your body, right? Heart, soul, mind, and strength, right? So your soul is the blood that pumps the life through your body, right? Into your mind, which is where you calculate what you're going to do, and then your strength is how you do it. You are the hands of God, or you're in the hands of the devil. And that's how it is.